As the country is in the grip of an obesity crisis, should people be rewarded for losing weight with shop vouchers or cinema tickets? Wolverhampton, where a third of people are classified as physically inactive, has been chosen as the trial city for what Health Secretary Sajid Javid described as an exciting new NHS weight loss scheme involving free cinema tickets, shopping vouchers and gym passes. So will this work, and is this good use of public funds? To debate this issue, I'm delighted to welcome Steve Miller, one of the best-known figures in weight loss in the country, the founder of the mindset and motivational weight loss program, Fatnosis. Also joining us is health and fitness guru Marvin Ambrosius, along with my panellist, best-selling author, lawyer and presenter Rebecca Jane. Great to have all three of you with me. First of all, Marvin Ambrosius, what's your view? Do you think that we should incentivise people to lose weight?
Well, first of all, it's very bold and it's very out there. It's something where I was quite shocked when I read about it, because it all comes down to accountability. And first and foremost, what we're actually doing is taking out of each other's hands and putting that into a scheme to where we're allowing people to think that they're going to do something just because they're going to get vouchers back. Funny enough, when they mentioned in the article that cinema vouchers, have you ever seen anybody in the cinema eat an apple? I don't think I have, because it's popcorn, It's chocolate. So if we're going to talk about incentives, let's focus on the education. Let's focus on getting people to understand that it's about it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You have to get people to do something through creating habits. The only great thing I think that works with this is that the children that are going to watch their parents that have had the bad habits over the years, they're going to see their parents moving more, hopefully, to which then their kids will copy them. And it won't be about incentivizing them. It will be about them understanding that it's about your health and your well-being, because it's very difficult for people to change their habits. And financially as well, there's families that don't have the education, understanding of how to even feed their kids in a way where it's not going to be the chips, the beige foods, the burgers, the sausages. The things that are cheap are usually the things that can keep and spread a plate for a bigger family. So really, hopefully, within that app, there are things that create the education around nutrition, because you can't outwork a bad diet. So it doesn't matter how much somebody's moving, how many steps they're taking a day, they could work out twice a day. If you were eating the wrong foods, consuming more fats, more calories, you're not going to be able to lose the weight. You will get fitter, but physically, you won't really see that changes. And ultimately for the NHS, that 6 million will remain at 6 million every year.
Steve Miller, what's the problem with motivating people to lose weight?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, but this is absolute cobblers. Because you see, when we talk about motivation, this scheme, by the way, this kind of scheme has been done before. There was an NHS trust down in Kent that tried it, and it was a complete mess. It was a complete failure. And 3/4 of the people that signed up for it actually didn't even complete it. Now, and why have we always got to bribe people to take responsibility? You know, Sajid Javid, we're going to pay you to stop being fat. It's just ridiculous. And the thing I would say as well, in terms of the mechanics of this scheme actually working, people cheat it. People will cheat it. It just, and what we're doing with these sort of things is we're developing a culture of victimhood. Everyone loves to be a victim these days and point the finger at everybody else. Oh, it's your fault that I'm fat, so you've got to pay me. What this is really is that it's paying people to lose weight. It's bribing them. And what happens with motivation, I can tell you now, it'll wane. It might start with good intent, but it will wane very quickly. And we've got to get away from this victim culture and start developing and nurturing a culture that is much more about, if you're fat, you take responsibility. Now, Marvin, I agree, speaks a lot of sense, actually. But the one thing I disagree with him about is going down the route of, parents can't afford it. Healthy food's too expensive. Nonsense. The Institute of Economic Affairs did a survey on this. They did it very well. And it proved that healthy food is cheaper. And we've never had so much education in this country in terms of knowing that. In fact, I've got some here. That an apple is better than eating a chocolate bar. We already know that. It's not the food. It's here. and it's can't be bothered itis with many people. And that might make me unpopular with a lot of people. But you know what? 20 years in this game, we're suffering with can't be bothered itis.
Well, look, Steve has just produced an apple, but actually, Rebecca, this is about carrot, not stick. We're just encouraging people to do the right thing and rewarding them when they achieve their goals.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have to. Whole project's doomed for failure from the start. It's nonsense. I am a classic yo-yo dieter, hold my hands up. I've been on all ends of the scale. I will tell you the one thing, you're never going to bribe somebody with cinema tickets to lose weight, because it takes this switch in here to go, and eventually you go, do you know what, I'm going to do something about it. And what really winds me right up, and this probably won't come as any surprise, is that the government think that what's a really good idea is let's give money to cinemas and buy cinema tickets when we could be spending it on mental health and actually helping the mindset of these people. I'm all in favour of social prescribing. One of my favourite things, I think it's the future to sorting out our mental health crisis. And in this respect, gym membership, yeah, fine, give that away. Second of all, actually educating people on what they're actually eating, nutrition advice, yeah, that's fine too. Giving them cinema tickets, you're absolutely insulting the public of this country.
I don't know.
I
I think
I have to say,
Go on, Steve.
People that are too fat, most people that are too fat don't agree with it. They think it's very patronising. But can I come back to the point that's just been made, which is, we've been saying in 20 years, I can tell you now, we've been talking about, it's all about education, it's all about nutrition education and all of this sort of stuff. Listen, how much more education do people want? I'll tell you why people are getting too fat in this country is because they have become lazy-minded. And what we need, and that's because, I'll tell you why, that's because we're having things like these big fat models in magazines that are normalising obesity. That's one of the big reasons.
I'm backing up on that one. Sorry, I got to cut you on that one. You know what? It's not about normalising, it's about inclusivity. Because you know what? One thing that happens every single time, I've had thousands of clients, and there's one thing everybody doesn't take into account. If I've had a client that's lost 4 stone, but they happen to be 20 stone where they started, and then you make them feel bad about where they are right now, where do you think that puts them? They're on a way to the journey.
Absolute rubbish. Let me tell you why.
Rebecca?
You've got to
It's interesting
help.
you say that, Marvin, but you would not be saying, okay, you want inclusivity, let's have skinny models in magazines then. Do you agree with that?
That happened for years. We already did that. We already did that.
You'd be moaning, eating disorders.
Knock it down.
Yeah? All this inclusivity is bonkers. What we need is reality.
Is bonkers.
You don't put people that are too thin, you don't put people that are too fat in magazines.
No. Sir Mix-a-Lot said it best. He said, I like big butts and I cannot lie. That whole music video back in the 90s was about magazines not showing women with big bums, not showing women with big boobs. And it was taboo at the time. Every single female right now that gets promoted and publicized, the biggest being a Kardashian, is big bum and big boobs. And every girl in every gym that I want to go to wants that body. But no, listen.
Finish your point, Marvin.
That was not considered beautiful before. But it's considered beautiful now, but it's not achievable.
That being fat is acceptable. And that's what magazines do.
Rebecca.
For a second.
Rebecca Jane.
Thank you, Mark. You need to knock it off because it's about health. If that person is unhealthy, I absolutely support them losing weight to make them healthy. However, it is not about size. We do not need to be deeming size as being what is beautiful.
You cannot be fat and fit.
Absolutely everybody, regardless of their size, is beautiful, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you've got a problem with that, you need to sort out your attitude.
Well, you did just mention something. You can't be fat and not fit. Let me finish this one point.
Okay, Marvin, then I'll come back to you.
Let me get this one point.
Marvin makes his point, and I'll come back to you,
I'm going to get this one point, Steve. Steve, 1 point. One point.
That's what's wrong with this
Hold fire, Steve.
We are celebrating obesity. We are normalising obesity. And you might not like that message, but it's true. And I get fed up to the back teeth of where people are saying, we should be, big is beautiful, big is wonderful, big is fabulous. And the next breath is saying to me, what about child obesity? You want it both ways.
No, what you got to look at is you can be fit and you can be overweight. There's people that work out 7, 10 times a week, but they haven't changed their nutrition. The difference is their fitness is amazing, but what you're looking at is the education towards that. And what we're trying to do is change the behavior. It's just behavior. Some people are comfortable. And another thing as well, people are comfortable where they are. Who am I to tell somebody, Marvin, that they're not comfortable with who they are right now?
There's a question from Steve, which is, are you saying you can be fat and healthy at the same time?
You can't be fat, you can't be overweight and healthy at the same time. You can't be healthy. Like when I say overweight, there's different levels to being overweight. Someone could be deemed overweight. Anthony Joshua is actually clinically obese.
Yes.
So are you going to talk to me about obesity? He's one of the fittest people I can mention, but he's clinically obese. So when you talk about that, there's different levels of obesity and different levels of fitness.
Steve Miller? Steve Miller?
The common sense is that we are normalising obesity in this country by promoting fat as acceptable. People are even too nervous to use the word fat because of political correctness, which has gone mad. The word fat won't hurt you. Being too fat will. That's the reality.
How you say something to an individual is what's hurtful to them.
Well, now here's a really important point from Steve Miller, which I'll put to both you, Marvin, and also Rebecca Jane, which is whatever policies we currently have, they're not working because, Marvin, obesity is exploding in this country. And the pandemic has exposed us to the worst of the virus because of the country's high BMI.
Yeah. Well,
it ain't working, is it? We've got to do something, Marvin.
Well, we have to do something. And do you know what? This is where...
I'll come back to you.
This is where I come into the 50-50 mark. It's better to do something than do nothing. With them starting this scheme, the way I looked at it was there's going to be a percentage, could be a small percentage, could be a big percentage, of people that are going to partake in this and actually see some change. That's okay. Is it going to equate to it being less than 6 million on the NHS every year? I don't know. But if the government are trying something to help people, they might not have done it in the way that I would have done it or suggested it, but at least they're trying to do something. I don't know if it's right now, but with what the kids are doing, I've got children, and video games, gaming, and going out, all I used to do was go outside and play as a kid. That's all I love doing. Now, you barely see kids outside. We're living in a new world, but we need to figure out how we can get people to want to move, but not just because they're going to be healthy, but they want to move for the longevity of their lifespan.
Rebecca Jane, final thoughts on this. The clock's against us. How do we fix this problem? We can agree there's a problem, so what's the answer?
You fix this problem by throwing out the plan that they've currently got, readdressing it, doing it more in a social prescribing route and letting the power back to the people and them to decide on what will help them to lose weight. But you're never going to do anything about it unless that mindset shifts. That's hard to say, from the get-go.
You got those words out. It's family show. You had me on the edge of my seat there. Marvin, briefly, what's your solution? I know that you're a very popular health and fitness guru online with many, many happy clients. So what's your answer to this?
My answer would be to basically, they need to start again from the drawing board and go back to exactly what we're talking about, restructuring to thinking about people's mental health, restructuring the education system, and really going to grassroots of getting it, because we might have lost the generation that aren't going to understand that we need to move and bring this back to the children for the next generation afterwards.
And Steve Miller, briefly, if you can, you are the guru at Fatnosis, which is a motivational and mindset weight loss program. What do you think the answer to Britain's obesity crisis is?
We get firmer, we get more direct, we stop normalisation of obesity, which we've been doing exceptionally well in this country, and we ditch political correctness around it.
Brilliant stuff. A straight answer to a straight question. My sincere thanks to Steve Miller, Marvin Ambrosius and Rebecca Jane.